I can't leave. I'm a captured tenant. The real world great situation is when you can say, F you. When a guy's like, I'm going to raise your rent, and you're going, I'll go down the street. They have better deals.
Yeah.
If you have somewhere else you can go that is a better deal, if there's actual competition, that is the great situation. That's what you want for almost all markets, is the ability of the consumer to be like, oh, you want to overcharge me for this? I'll go down the street. I'll go somewhere else. So any government that is trying to create that, I think, is on the right track. I think that's the best way to do it. I totally get what you're saying. Nobody wants someone who's lived in a house for a long time in the neighborhood and the character to be thrown out on the street or kicked out because of rising rents. I'm skeptical because I've seen it and looked into it and really studied it for a lot of cities that have had the same, like, oh, it's obvious, just freeze rents.
Yeah.
It's what I've been calling. Do you guys know the Rizzler?
The kid?
The kid that does this?
Yeah.
He was on Connor Eats Pants' Fortnite Friday, and he said, this is my campaign for running for president. I'm going to make rent $42 and everything's free or whatever. You know, like, I'm calling it Rizzlernomics. I feel like there's a rise of like two big groups. One of them is blame everything on immigrants, and one of them is Rizzlernomics that just tell you how everything's possible. It's all free. We don't have to. And so I'm worried about both, right? I'm more worried about the ones that's like everything's immigrants' problem.
Yeah.
But I'm also skeptical because history has a lot of examples of Rizzlernomics not working out, ending up being problematic down the road.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving my high level opinion. I still want to say, overall, super happy with this guy. Glad he's winning. Think it's great as a broader trend of America being like, let's finally try, you know, a more progressive. Let's try someone who's going to raise taxes on the rich. Let's try someone who's going to, that's been so verboten, like totally not allowed in American politics for a while. So I think it's good. I just, on a few details, I have some quibbles.
I think the thing I'm hoping for out of him on the side of, you know, I'm not particularly excited about rent control for the reasons that you outlined, but I am excited about his desire to create a ton of public housing units and also incentivize building in New York from the private sector and changing city level zoning is something you can do from a mayoral position. These all seem like things he can have a conceivable impact on. Yeah. And that feels really good. Those are the parts of the housing policy that I think should be most emphasized. And I think people get, the rent control usually comes first bullet and is the thing that people latch onto because I think it's very easy to understand and it sounds really good. And it's, like I said, I voted for that policy in Los Angeles for the reasons that I described. But I think the economic reality of it is if you're trying to solve the underlying problem of housing, it doesn't work. And you need a bunch of other policy following it or in its place to actually address the problem, which is giving, providing enough.
But also, one more of his policies that you might not think I support, but I do. I did some research. Was he has a plan for, I believe, free city buses in all of New York, and that might sound like Rizzlernomics or whatever, but